This may be the catalyst for additional stimulus checks, possibly even monthly recurring payments, universal basic income, guaranteed basic income, or some other type of financial assistance. Let's get into it and talk about it, as there is a lot of weird things going on in the world today. But really quickly, if you haven't done so yet, welcome to the channel. Please make sure to hit that subscribe button right down below the video, as I'm back for you each and every day in videos just like this, bringing you all the latest updates and helping you out with anything that I possibly can. As I get it, it's a tough time and it's very confusing with everything changing as rapidly as it is. So hit that subscribe button down below if you haven't done so yet, and I promise you I'll continue to be here for you each and every day. All right, wow, there is a lot going on right now. There are so many weird things in the headlines right now. I want to run through some of these because realistically, looking at all of this, this could be the catalyst to help out people with additional financial assistance in the form of possibly stimulus checks, universal basic income, guaranteed basic income, or some type of other financial assistance type program on a nationwide level, simply because what we're going to talk about right here is kind of weird, and realistically, it's going to start hurting everybody really badly, more than it already is. Now again, I'm not telling you this stuff to scare you. This is what is really happening in the real world today. Now, I'm going to run through a couple things right now. You might wonder, why do we care about this? But it's all going to come full circle into why the government may need to step in and offer additional assistance. Check this out. Today alone, 1 barrel of crude oil hit $82 a barrel. Now you might be wondering, why do we care about crude oil? Because it all reflects in the price of gas. They take crude oil, they refine it, and it turns into the gas that we pump into our cars. So 1 barrel of crude oil hit $82 today, which actually just so happens to be the highest price we've seen for crude oil in 7 years. At the same time, natural gas, what we use to heat our homes in the winter, along with heating oil, things like this, are all hitting all 7-year highs as well. And other products like coal is hitting all-time highs. So as you can see across the board, there are highs being hit in prices all across the board. And guess what? Where are all those prices going to be reflected? Yes, it's all going to come back to us, the consumer. No, the producers, they're not going to be the ones who eat that price. We have to eat it as the consumer. So we're going to see higher prices across the board. In fact, this is another interesting stat also that I came across. There are only 8 states in the entire country who have gas prices under $3 a gallon. Most states are pushing $4 or even more per gallon of gas right now. That is really tough. I mean, seriously, when you go out to fill up your car right now and you're paying more, a couple dollars more every single week, or however often it is that you fill up your car with gas, that makes it tough. Not only to mention, we see these prices across food products across the board, once again, rising on pretty much everything. In fact, I told you, I believe it was in yesterday's video, I talked about meat products. Let's run through a couple meat products really quickly, and then we can talk about some other things here. Chicken alone is up 7.2%. Bacon is up 9%. And ground beef is up 13%, just to name a few. By the way, milk is up a ton. And other products like, I'm going to say this wrong, soda pop. I covered all 3 simply because regardless of where you are in the country, some people call it different things, but those beverages in a can, yes, those are up significantly as well. Other products like chips, simple like potato chips, these are up significantly as well. In fact, Kraft and Heinz, they were out with statements basically saying, hey, consumers, they're going to have to get used to paying higher prices because pretty much everybody is jacking prices right now. Well, that's all coming down to us, right? Again, like I said a minute ago, the producers of all these products, they're not going to eat these costs. They have to pass it on to the consumer, and we are the consumer, unfortunately. Not only that, there are over 70 container ships anchored off of the coast of California trying to get into the ports. Well, what do they have on those container ships? They have all kinds of products that they've brought across the Pacific Ocean from other Asian countries like Taiwan, Vietnam, China, all these places that produce tons of these products and products that we buy in our stores. They're sitting out there in the Pacific Ocean right now on all of these container ships that are anchored just off the coast of California. Over 70 of them. By the way, I was doing some research just the other day on container ships because I thought it was super interesting. Each one of these container ships contains anywhere between 800 and 1,000 containers per ship. Guess what? One of these containers is about the size of a semi-trailer. So, I mean, just think about that. Each of these ships contains about 800 to 1,000 semi-trailers, essentially. That's a lot of products. I mean, seriously, if you go to the grocery stores, you go to the stores in general, and you start to see empty shelves, that's exactly why. All of our products, they're basically sitting out there in the ocean right now. In fact, just a quick side note. My wife, Corey, many of you know her, she actually ran to the store today, and I was talking to her just a short time ago, and I was saying, hey, what does it look like on the shelves? And she's like, you know what? It's kind of weird. Some of the shelves are completely empty. Of course, some of the other shelves are stocked up nicely, other things, but some of the shelves, she said, are completely empty. And what was actually really interesting, too, is when she got to the checkout line, she was talking to the cashier, and the cashier's like, yeah, we're waiting on some really big shipments out of California. Well, sorry, but you're going to be waiting a long, long time for those because they're still out on the ships. They haven't even come into the port yet. So, yeah, pretty interesting stuff, right? So, now how does this all come back full circle to stimulus checks, potentially UBI, Universal Basic Income, GBI, Guaranteed Basic Income, or some type of other financial assistance? Well, look at it. I mean, we are being smoked right now by inflation. I mean, seriously, everybody is getting pinched right now by inflation. Well, what is this going to mean going forward? Are we just going to be able to sail off into the sunset and everybody continue to be hurt by all of this inflation going forward? Or is the government need to going to step in at some point and really help out the American people, especially the lower income people? It's not so much the higher income people. Nah, it's not them. They're not the ones who are really being pinched right now. Don't get me wrong. Everybody's feeling the pinch, even higher income people. But they're not the ones who actually feel the impact of it the way that lower income people do, especially like those people living on a small fixed income like Social Security, retirement, disability, SSDI, survivors, SSI, VA, RRB, or basically any other fixed kind of benefit, maybe like a pension. There's a lot of you out there as well in this community who are living on a pension. Well, guess what? That is also a fixed income, right? So it's all coming back, and it's really hurting the lowest income people. Well, what happens when so many people like this start to get hurt really badly? The government typically needs to step in and do some type of stipend, as in a monthly payment to help out these types of people. And that is exactly what a UBI or a GBI type of program is, sending out a monthly stipend, usually around $500 to $1,000 on an ongoing monthly basis, fixed to a certain group of people, like a certain segment of people, a certain demographic of people, something like this. So, I mean, literally, it's kind of weird how all of this stuff is all coming down, but realistically, you can clearly see here how the supply chain kind of interacts with each other, right? So the container ships sitting out off the coast of California, the 70 plus of them sitting out there right now, with all the goods that we need on our store shelves, well, they're not coming in. Therefore, we're seeing higher prices because we're not really getting the products. As we do see them come trickling on in, of course, the prices need to go up because supply is minimal and demand is very high, therefore driving prices even higher. Now, here's a couple of other items that we want to talk about quickly. And again, before I say this, I just want to say I am not taking sides politically. I'm just laying it all out as to what is out in the news right now. You can look this stuff up if you want. I'm finding all of this on big news sites, just like what you can access if you'd like to look it up yourself. But I'm just kind of boiling it all down into these videos. But just the other day, we got the most recent approval ratings for President Biden. Well, I didn't talk about these the other day simply because I just typically don't talk about this stuff, but I want to bring it up. The approval rating of President Biden as of the recent poll is 38%. That is really low. I mean, that is really bad. Again, I'm not taking sides. I'm just simply saying that is not a good approval rating, 38%. And a lot of Democrats right now are scrambling thinking, this isn't good. What can we do? We've got to get into protection mode. What can we do to bring these numbers up? Because next year is the midterm election. Again, another catalyst that could be resulting in additional payments to the American people, because what do we want to do going into a midterm election? We want to remember that all of us are being remembered when we go to the polls, right? So that's exactly what politicians do. And again, they all do this. This is not me taking sides. They all do this going into election, midterm elections and presidential elections, things like this. They all do it. They basically just think, what can we do to get the attention of the people? What can we do to be remembered when it comes down to actual voting? And that's what we have to do. Get the attention of the people so that us, the people, when we go to the polls to vote, we remember them and of course we vote for them, right? Well, we have the midterm elections coming next year. With approval ratings sitting at where they are right now, and going into the midterm elections, the end of this year coming up really quickly here, and then going into next year, what can they do if they just so wanted to do so to get our attention? Well, send us some money. I don't know about you, but when somebody wants to give me some money, it certainly gets my attention for a little while, right? I'm guessing it probably gets your attention as well. So there's so many different weird things going on right there right now, most of which is boiling down to rising prices across the board on everything simply because of disruptions in the supply chain, and it's all coming back on us. All of us are feeling this so badly right now. Well, what happens when all of us get pinched to the degree where many of us are struggling? Well, that's where the government needs to step in and help the lowest of income individuals in the form of maybe it's a one-time stimulus check, $1,400, $2,000. Actually, what's interesting too, I didn't have plans to talk about this, by the way, but I just thought of this as I was saying this. I wanted to throw this out there. This is exactly why the Senior Citizens League is actually advocating for this $1,400 stimulus check for all of these tens of millions of Social Security, retirement, disability, and survivors beneficiaries. By the way, 69 million beneficiaries they're advocating for this $1,400 stimulus check, simply because they're citing these rising prices are really hitting these people really hard right now. And they just can't keep up. Seriously, they don't have enough food on the table at the end of the month. A lot of people are foregoing prescriptions. Not a good thing. That is not good at all. If a doctor has prescribed something, obviously you probably want to take it, but the problem is they don't have the money to pay for it. I'm guessing a lot of you are probably feeling the exact same thing right now, and you're probably experiencing something very, very similar. In fact, right before I started recording this video, I had somebody reach out to me privately through one of the platforms here and said, hey, do you know of any financial resources? I'm really struggling. And he actually listed off a number of different expenses that he has. One that was like $1,700, another one that was $1,600, another one that was $1,000. And he's like, hey, I need some money right now. Can you help me out? Can you figure out a way that we can get some additional assistance right now? And he said, I know they're dragging their feet on stimulus checks right now. Yeah, it's all so very true, right? So this guy that gave his personal example is pretty much laying it all out, the exact same thing that many of us right now are going through exactly, right? The same thing. Many different bills out there, many different outstanding debts, and it's like, the ends aren't meeting, right? You know how that is. The ends are not coming together, and it's kind of like, well, what do we do, right? So anyway, this is a number of different catalysts that are out there right now that could ultimately result in additional stimulus checks and or some type of program like a universal basic income, guaranteed basic income, or some other type of maybe adult tax credit or some type of payment on an ongoing monthly basis to help out the lowest of income individuals, including those people living on a fixed income. So I'm watching all this stuff very closely. I came across a bunch of this different information earlier, and I thought, you know what? I just want to lay all this out for you because it's so interesting to lay this out. Typically, I don't talk about like crude oil prices. I don't talk about container ships sitting off the coast of California. I typically don't talk about natural gas and the president's approval rating. I typically don't talk about this kind of stuff. But all of this may just be the next catalyst for the next bout of financial support, especially those low-income individuals, right? So anyway, hope this helps you out to some degree. Again, I'm watching everything very, very closely. I'm always watching everything in Congress right now, especially as they have this stimulus package on the table. So make sure to hit the subscribe button right down below the video as I'm back for you every single day with the latest updates. I'll continue to watch everything closely as we have another very busy week right ahead of us here as Congress is back in session. And of course, they're talking about the stimulus package and all of these other things going on right now. And of course, we got that very important vote coming down tomorrow in the House. Again, I'll watch everything closely. closely, and I'll let you know. Enjoy your day. Hit that subscribe button right down below the video. Go back and check out some of the other very important videos right here on the channel. We have over 1,600 videos, and they're all right here for you to enjoy and get some helpful information out of. And just remember, I am the one and only daily advocate right here on YouTube. So thanks again. I appreciate it. Subscribe down below, and I'll check you